Inside this federal contracting office, a new phase of domestic surveillance began without a public hearing or a single vote. For $25 million, the Department of Homeland Security purchased 1,500 handheld iris scanners. These devices are currently being distributed to ICE agents for use in neighborhoods across the United States. Fingerprints can be scarred, lifted, or altered. The iris is an internal organ with a complex, stable pattern. Capturing over 200 measurement points, it creates a unique identifier with an error rate of 1 in 1.2 million, performance that makes facial recognition look primitive. The accuracy of the technology is exactly what creates the risk. Deploying a permanent tracking system at this scale, with no established rules for its use, marks a departure from previous standards of federal identification. In the state of Illinois, citizens live under some of the strictest biometric privacy protections in the country. Under state law, a private corporation must obtain written consent, publish data usage, and legally delete that information after 3 years. But those protections vanish when facing a federal agency. There is no federal law governing your biometric identity. It is a total legal vacuum. Because ICE operates under federal jurisdiction, they are not bound by state privacy statutes. An agent can scan your eye in downtown Chicago, ignoring every protection the state of Illinois has tossed. The result is a double standard. Today, you possess more legal rights over your biological data when dealing with a social media company than you do when facing a federal agent on the street. The tactical reality of these operations often conflicts with the government's stated goals. While the program is marketed as a tool for immigration enforcement, field raids frequently act as dragnets. In a workplace or apartment complex sweep, agents often process everyone in the vicinity to establish identity. This dragnet has already caught people outside of the cited population. Legal observers, volunteers who monitor protests to ensure civil rights are respected, have been detained and scanned during these operations. NPR has documented cases where these sweeps escalated beyond digital iris scans to the physical seizure of DNA. Peaceful protesters have reported being forced to provide biological samples before being released without charge. The indiscriminate nature of these neighborhood sweeps turns a border enforcement tool into a general domestic surveillance dragnet. Once the scan is complete, your biological identity is digitized. The infrared light converts a unique biological trait into a permanent, searchable data point. The system translates your iris pattern into a mathematical string called an IRA code. This code is the digital fingerprint of your eye. Without a federal mandate to delete this information, the IRA code is stored indefinitely. There is no expiration date on your biological signature once it enters the system. This IRA code does not exist in isolation. This map shows how the government can link your biometric signature to state criminal records, vehicle registrations, and profiles purchased from commercial data brokers. In a system without regulatory walls, a permanent and highly accurate biometric identifier creates a profile that is impossible to opt out of or change. This technology is already being positioned as a standard part of American security infrastructure. 2 expansions are currently being discussed. The first is E-Verify, where iris scans would be required to clear a background check for a new job. The second is domestic air travel, replacing the physical ID at airport checkpoints with a mandatory eye scan. The most significant move involves mobile tracking at public gatherings. Law enforcement agencies are exploring the use of these handheld scanners at political rallies and protests. Logging every attendee at a political rally creates a permanent record of association. Privacy advocates warn that this removal of anonymity creates a chilling effect, where the risk of government scrutiny outweighs the desire to participate in public protest. Finally, there is the threat of database sharing. Once these profiles are created, any authorized government agency can query the ICE database, turning an immigration tool into a universal federal tracking system. Without legal limits, iris scanning shifts from a specialized tool into a mandatory prerequisite for participating in public life. In Washington, the battle to govern this technology has reached a stalemate. Lawmakers like Senator Ron Wyden have introduced the Surveillance Accountability Act. This bipartisan bill would require federal agents to obtain a warrant before searching a biometric database. Despite support from civil rights groups, the bill is deadlocked. Opposition from law enforcement agencies and corporate lobbying from the data industry have blocked the passage of both surveillance limits and federal privacy standards. You can still act. Research your state's biometric laws at stateofsurveillance.org and support the litigation efforts of groups like the Electronic Frontier Foundation. Most importantly, know your rights. If you are not being detained, you have the legal right to refuse a biometric scan. The federal government is expanding its biometric tracking capabilities without any established legal boundaries. As these 1,500 scanners are distributed, the window to define the rights of the people being scanned is closing.